Okay, hello everyone. And in today's session, we are going to discuss March-June 2023 exam paper. So the first question is, it is 1st July. Petra Company is a company listed on a stock exchange. It manufactures handbags with its supplies to retailers across the country. Company's year end is 30th September 2005. You are an audit supervisor with Babylon and Company. So if you're an audit supervisor with Babylon, Babylon is the audit firm, preparing draft audit programs and reviewing internal controls documentation in preparation for forthcoming audit. Petra employs factory staff who are paid based on number of hours worked. They are paid in cash on weekly basis due to commercial reasons. So they are paid in cash. Staff each have a unique clock card which they use to enter and exit the factory at the beginning and end of each of their shift. This process is supervised by security staff. Clock card system and payroll system are in. Payroll system automatically calculates gross and net pay along with relevant deductions and generates employee pay slips. Payroll supervisor selects a sample of these slips, reperforms the gross net pay calculation, and investigates any discrepancies. The sample pay slips are then signed as evidence of this review. So payroll system is automatically calculating gross and net pay, and supervisor is also reperforming them for accuracy for a sample. Factory staff receive an annual inflation-based pay increase every April. The revised hourly wage rates are communicated to the payroll department. The revised pay rates are entered into the system in April by a payroll clerk, and each entry is checked by a senior clerk for input errors prior to processing week's wages. So the revised pay rates are entered by payroll clerk. Each entry is checked by senior clerk for input errors. Senior clerk signs a payroll listing of factory staff employees, which includes revised hour rate as evidence of undertaking this review. 2 members of payroll department produce cash packets. 1 member is responsible for preparing the pay packets by reference to pay slips generated by the system. 2nd member recounts the contents of the finished pay packets and confirms this agrees to pay slips. Both members of staff are required to sign the weekly payroll listing on completion of this task. Sales. Petra carried out credit checks for all customers. Upon passing these checks, customers are set up by an accounting clerk in the receivable ledger master file, and credit limit is set by the finance director. Credit limits are only reviewed if increase is requested by the customer. Petra generates revenue through visits by members of its sales department to customers' premises. So you generate revenue by visits of members to premises. When a customer places an order, sales staff check that customer is within its credit limit and that inventory is available, and then complete a 3-part pre-printed audit form. 1 copy is left for the customer. 2nd is sent to the warehouse. 3rd to the finance department. Sales staff have monthly sales targets and are able to use their discretion in granting discounts up to a maximum of 8%. No review is undertaken of discounts. Purchases. The company has a purchasing department based at its head office. All members of this department has full access to supplier master file data and are able to make changes. All members have access to supplier master file. When goods are received from supplier, they are processed by warehouse team who agree the delivery to purchase order. So when goods are received, they are processed by warehouse team, agree the delivery to purchase order, checking quantity and quality, complete a sequentially numbered GRN. The GRNs are matched with the purchase order. GRNs are matched to purchase order and fill in warehouse. On receipt of purchase invoice from supplier, a payables ledger clerk logs them into payables ledger using document count controls to ensure correct number of invoices has been put. Total on the payables ledger is not compared to control account and the general ledger at the end of each month, as the payables ledger clerk believes this process is unnecessary. Okay, so there was a lot of information, like a typical audit question. Requirement A, list 4 control objectives of Petra's sales system. So you do not need to refer to the scenario. You just need to write down control objectives. We have done this requirement many times. And this is the beauty of F8 paper, that things are always repeated. Okay. Okay. Now, control objectives of sales system. In fact, we have taught you this in the classes and the past papers as well, that control objectives of any system are to ensure transactions are recorded in correct accounting period, to ensure transactions are recorded in correct accounting system. Okay. To ensure goods are given to customers with good credit rating. It's not necessary you are writing these ones as well, because when you open the lectures, I have taught you control objectives. You can simply copy paste because it's clearly mentioned. You don't need to refer to the scenario. To ensure goods are dispatched timely. So these can be the control objectives. Okay, you can write them. Okay, now there is the next requirement, which states in respect of payroll system of Petra, identify and explain 3 direct controls. So there has been a routine requirement of controls or strengths, or direct controls are the same thing, which auditor may seek to place reliance on, and test of control auditor should perform to assess each of these controls effectively. Now, in respect of payroll system. So in payroll system, you had some controls. You can also call them direct controls. You can also call them strengths. Okay. They are paid in cash as a weakness. Staff have a clock card which they use to enter and exit the factory, and this process is supervised by security staff. So staff have a clock card. Okay, staff have a clock card which they use to enter and exit the factory, and this process is supervised by security staff. This is a control, right? That staff have a card which they are swiping, and the process is being monitored. Okay, so identify the control, that's it. But identify and explain means you need to tell the reason or impact of this trend. Like identify and explain weakness, so you need to identify the weakness and then state why there's a weakness. Okay, its impact. So identify and explain, that means you have to tell the strength as well as its impact. This will ensure employees are paid for their actual hours, as no employee can hand over his card to other employee for swiping when he is absent. Okay, remember it was a weakness. The process is not supervised, so employees hand over their cards to other for swiping, resulting in increased payroll cost. So this will ensure employees are paid for their actual hours. No employee can hand over his card to others. How can you test this control? That's factory staff is supervising them. Observe the use of clock cards by employees and ensure security staff are supervising the process. You can simply go and see whether they are swiping, whether the staff are supervising or not. Okay. Second strength or control, the payroll system automatically calculates gross and net pay along with deductions and payroll supervisor selects a sample of them, reperforms the calculations, and signs them. See what a good strength is. You remember you have studied many times a weakness that system automatically calculates gross and net pay, and you don't check these calculations. You don't check these calculations. So you're right, there can be impact and errors. Employees may be paid wrong amount. But here, system is automatically calculating gross and net pay. Supervisors selecting them, reperforming them, that whether calculations are all right or not, and signing them. Okay. Why it is a strength? This will ensure any errors are identified and resolved timely, and employees are paid correct amounts. Okay, so this is a good control as well. Okay, now the control is system is automatically calculating and the supervisor is checking, okay, and signing them. So you can observe the process of supervisor recalculating them and check the pay slips whether they're signed or not, or you can simply reperform the calculations on your own. Okay. Ask for a sample of pay slips which were used by payroll supervisor for recalculation and ensure they are signed by him. Okay, you can check for a sample of pay slips which have been taken by him and see whether he is signing them or not. If its sign is there, that means the control is working. He's checking and signing. If the sign is not there, then this control is not working. Okay, you can copy them. Now, this is specifically related to payroll system. Therefore, I cannot go in any other system because it's asked in part B in respect of payroll system. Okay. So one more strength. Two members produce cash pay packets. One is responsible for preparing, another recounts the contents of the finished pay packets. Two members are producing pay packets. One is preparing and one is recounting and confirming. This agrees to pay slips. Okay, if one member had been preparing, we would have said it's a weakness because there can be errors in preparation, but two members are producing, that's a strength. This ensures segregation of duties and double checking ensures there are no errors in preparing pay packets and employees are paid correct amounts. Double checking ensures that there is no counting error, they are paid correct amounts. So the control is two members are there, one is preparing, other is recounting. Observe the process of pay packet preparation and ensure there are two staff members, one preparing and other recounting. It's simple. There are two persons, one preparing, one recounting. So you can simply observe this process. Okay. You can copy this. Okay, so after doing this 6 marks part from the perspective of, I think it was specifically related to payroll system. Now let's see what other requirements we have. Now identify and explain 6 deficiencies in Petra's sales and purchase system. So for this, you can look at sales as well as purchase system, the 6 deficiencies. Okay. And recommendation, very easy requirement, one of the most favored requirements of students. Okay, so 5 deficiencies, I'm sorry. Okay, So you can get some from sales, some from purchases, carriage out credit checks for all new customers. This is not a weakness. Upon assessing checks, customers are set up by accounting clerk in the receivable ledger master file. So clerk has access to master file can be a weakness. Credit limits are not reviewed regularly, only reviewed if customer request increase, another weakness. Okay. Sales staff have monthly target. They are used discretion in granting discounts up to maximum 8%. No reviews undertaken for discount, another weakness. All members of department have full access to supplier master file confidentiality, fourth weakness. Input on payables ledger is not compared to control account, another weakness. Okay, so we can write some weaknesses and their recommendations as well as the impact. Okay, let's start. Okay, credit limits are set by finance director, only reviewed if increases requested by customer. Credit impact of this request. Customers situation might change and he may not be able to pay, still allowing him same credit limit may result in increased chances of bad debts. You know, if you review credit limits regularly, and if customer situation has gone bad, you should decrease his credit limit. You're still allowing him same credit limit, his situation gone bad, he may not be able to pay, increased chances of bad debts. Okay, so recommendation, credit limits should be regularly reviewed and updated by a responsible official to ensure there are reduced chances of bad debts. Okay. The sales staff have monthly sales targets, able to use their discretion in granting discounts up to maximum of 8%. No reviews undertaken of discounts granted. Okay. Sales staff can grant discount of up to 8%, but no review is undertaken of discounts granted. You have allowed them that you can grant discount up to 8%, but you don't review discounts granted. Impact, sales staff may grant discount more than 8% to meet sales targets, and this may result in loss of revenue for the company. Recommendation. A responsible official should regularly review discounts granted to ensure they are not crossing 8%. Okay, so you can write these two, then I will move forward. Okay, let's move forward. Company is a purchasing department based at its head office. All members of department have full access to supplier master file data and were able to make changes. All members of purchase department have access to supplier master file and can make changes. This can be confidentiality breaches, right? Because master file is a sensitive document, and this can result in increased chances of risk of fraud error because access is to all members. So anyone can add supplier, remove supplier. This can lead to errors as well. Okay. Access and amendment rights of master file should be restricted to seniors or responsible members of the department. No one else should be allowed to gain access. Okay. Now, lesson 1 point is very easy, but it's mentioned in a different term, so you must be able to understand it. The total on payables ledger is not compared to control account in the general ledger. The total on payable ledger is not compared to control account. What is this? Reconciliation is not being done. What is the purpose of reconciliation? You compare individual ledgers with the control account. Control account reconciliation is not being done because you are not comparing, reconciling, no reconciliation performed. So like we always used to say that bank statement and cash book needs to be reconciled. That's bank reconciliation. If it mentions no bank reconciliation, you write clearly. But if it states no comparison of cash book and bank statement is being done, that means reconciliation is not being done. So similarly, no comparison of credit card bills and our orders are done. That means the credit card statement reconciliation is not being done. Supplier balances and our balances are not being compared, no reconciliation. So similarly, if you are not comparing the payables ledger with control account, that means reconciliation is not being done on a regular basis. No reconciliation, you know what's the weakness? This may result in errors and disputes not being identified and resolved on a timely basis. which may result in incorrect amounts being paid. So what is the recommendation? The reconciliation should be done on a regular basis, preferably every month, to ensure errors are identified and resolved timely. Okay, please copy this. Okay, now as far as the last weakness is concerned, you can write this that new customers are set up by accounting clerk in the master file. So master file is again being accessed by clerk. Okay. So this can be a weakness, right? Similarly, yeah, you can write that. New customers are set up by the accounting clerk in the master file. So he has access to master file. He can make changes, confidentiality breaches. This you can write and complete your 5 deficiencies. Okay. Then it's another requirement that Petra produces monthly management accounts. So I didn't write the previous one because it's same access to master file, which you just wrote. So you can write the same points, confidentiality breaches and errors. Okay. Now, Petra produces monthly management accounts, which include a detailed analysis of expense categories, substantive procedures to obtain sufficient or appropriate evidence in relation to purchase and other expenses. So you need to write substantive procedures on purchases and other expenses. Okay. So 4 procedures are required here. Okay. You can go in my notes in expenses, compare expense of current year with last year. Investigate any significant difference. Okay. For a sample of expense, verify supporting documentation like payment voucher, bank statement, invoice, etc. Purchases like sales, you can do one thing, like in sales, you compare GDNs and invoices. So you can agree or compare purchase invoices with GRNs to ensure completeness. Okay. This has been taught in sales. So vice versa for purchases. I can pick one more from sales because people say there is no heading of purchases. So you have the heading of sales. You can just convert it to make for purchases. In sales, there was the last point, select a sample of sale pre and post year end. So sample of purchases pre and post year end compared to purchase invoice. It was written sales invoice. I am modifying it because sales was written, purchase is just vice versa. Compared to purchase invoice to ensure recorded incorrect accounting period. Okay, so you had the expenses. I wrote 2 from expenses tab on my handout sheet, and there was sales, so I just modified it to get purchases. Okay, please copy this. Last part. Petra has been listed company for 6 years. Directors are aware of the need for compliance with corporate governance principles. So this is for corporate governance. Finance director has requested the audit team undertakes a review of whether company complies with principles. Board is comprised of executive and independent NEDs. Chair is planning to retire at the end of financial year and is proposed by the nomination committee that current marketing director is appointed on this role. Chair is planning to retire. Chair means chairman is planning to retire. And nomination committee is saying that marketing director is appointed into this role. New marketing director is recruited. 2 directors are subject to re-election at annual general meeting. NEDs are all members of audit committee and are highly experienced in the industry in which Petra operates. Before joining Petra, they were previously involved in sales and purchasing roles. Level of executive director space set by remuneration committee comprised of independent NEDs. The remuneration for NEDs is in the form of bonus based on profit every year. Okay, the 3 corporate governance weaknesses faced by Petra. Okay, so we have 3 weaknesses right in front of the screen. So NEDs are members of audit committee. That's good. But before joining Petra, they were involved in sales and purchasing roles. So you know one weakness. No member of audit committee was previously involved in finance related role. Both were related to sales and production. Okay. At least one member of audit committee must have financial expertise. Since no one has, the audit committee will not be in a position to understand financial statements. Remember this weakness that one member must have for financial expertise. He must have been previously involved in finance role. Since no member is involved in finance role, both were involved in sales marketing. No member has expertise of financial statements. No one will be able to understand financial statements. So what is the recommendation? The company should consider appointing one independent NED. Company should consider appointing one independent NED. Who possesses financial experience. Okay. It is proposed that current marketing director should be appointed as chairman. See, the board of Spectra is comprised of EDs and NDs. The chair is planning to retire. Chair is chairman. It is proposed that by the nomination committee, current marketing director is appointed into the chair role. And what will happen if the marketing director is appointed into the chairman role? Marketing director went to the chairman role. We need a marketing director. So new marketing director is recruited. Send the current marketing director to the chairman role and recruit a new marketing director. So it is recommended or proposed by the board that current marketing director should be appointed as chairman. The chairman should be independent NED. Since marketing director has previously worked for the company in executive role. Marketing director is basically an executive. Okay, marketing director, finance director are executive people working in the company. Since marketing director has previously worked for the company in executive role, appointing him as chairman will not bring desired level of independence. Okay, so recommendation. The current marketing director should not be appointed as chairman when current chairman retires and independent NED shall be appointed to fill his role. Okay. You know, chairman has to be an NED. That's the corporate governance recommendation. You are saying marketing director is an executive, appoint him as chairman. So no chairman must have previously had any executive role. Chairman has to be an independent NED. So he won't bring independence. So it is important that you appoint a new individual as marketing, as chairman when the current chairman retires. And the last one, level of ED space set by remuneration committee comprised of NEDs. Remuneration for NEDs is not being set by remuneration committee. It's in the form of an annual bonus. So remuneration of NED should also be set by remuneration committee based on time and skills. Okay. Not on annual profits. Okay. EDs as per their performance and NEDs as per time skill. So the remuneration of NED is not being set. The remuneration committee Instead, they are paid a bonus, annual bonus. Impact. This may result in incorrect pay scales and may affect independence of NEDs. Okay, you are not paying them as per the time and scale, you're paying them on bonus, on profit growth. So obviously, one, this may create incorrect pay scales. They may be getting more or less than market because you're just giving them bonus. And secondly, it affects their independence. How? NEDs are paid as per their time and scale. Rather than that, they're being paid bonus on profit growth. So they may say, okay, company is paying us bonus on profit growth. So even if company is reporting wrong profit growths, they won't say anything because they're getting more bonus. Getting this? Since they're getting bonus on profit growth, this affects independence. Even if company is reporting incorrect profit growth, they may remain silent to get bonus. They're getting bonus on profit growth. So if company is reporting wrong profit growth, they may remain silent. This affects their independence. The remuneration. The remuneration of NEDs shall also be set by remuneration committee, and they must be paid as per their time and scale. Okay, so this basically ends this question. You can copy this and then we will finish this question. Okay. So that's it for this question. It was a good question. Some strengths, then control objectives of a system, 4 marks strengths, then 6 marks and 10 marks for weaknesses, 4 marks for substantive procedures, and 3 corporate governance weaknesses. Okay. Please copy and then you can leave. Okay.